Got it. It's New Thought Tuesdays. Come join us and celebrate your mind. Celebrate your human minds. Celebrate that universal mind. We're going to talk about where the human mind intersects with that universal mind today. And we're going to be talking about science of mind and just kind of mind-bending concepts like neuroplasticity, your magnificence in your human mind. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So buckle up for a ride of a little bit of lighthearted science here and some mind exploration to the max. So join us today. Science of mind meets neuroplasticity. It's the ultimate makeover for your brain.
For the mind.
For the mind, for the brain.
For the brain.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Does the brain do the thinking or does the mind do the thinking?
There's what we can talk about.
Organ.
We're going in a little bit of a different direction today on New Thought Tuesday. Say hello, Rich. How are you, Rich?
Hello. Hello. Neuroplasticity.
Neuroplasticity.
I had to look that one up.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the idea of neuroplasticity. So here's what's different about today. We tend to focus on spiritual principle, and that's what we're going to focus on today. But we're going to kind of join the ideas of that human brain, the human mind, small m, if you will, with that infinite universal mind, capital M, if you will, and talk a little bit from the human standpoint and a lot from the spiritual standpoint about the power of our mind. And that's a bit where neuroplasticity, for those of you who don't know what neuroplasticity is, it's really a term that has really come into its own in the last 20 years or so, where scientists have really found that the brain is much more flexible and that it grows and that it shifts and it can adjust on its own much more than they had thought. So there's a plastic quality to it. They're calling it the neuroplasticity, these neural pathways that are in your brain. Your human brain, which of course everything in the human atmosphere is in the divine infinite, your human brain can adjust how it functions and brings in more flexibility. And your environment, the human environment, and things like what you learn can really impact your human brain. Now, this is like coming at power from two different directions. We're coming at the power of the infinite mind, the infinite manifestation of all things everywhere, expressing through our experience, through our mind, through our thought. And we're coming at it today also from the, okay, here's the human science on what's going on. And the reason for that is that, sometimes having some point of view from the human standpoint can really help open up our acceptance. It can build our faith when we see how our concepts of the infinite human capabilities that we have are embraced within that infinite quality of life and the infinite mind. Okay, so that's enough talking from Dean. That's a little bit about neuroplasticity, that flexibility of your mind, how your mind grows and changes and adjusts, and how it's affected by the environment, and how you can really nurture it with how you work with it. And I think, hey, Rich, I think New Thought Tuesdays does that, because here we are every Tuesday focusing on infinite qualities, which just, if that's not going to stretch your mind, I'm not sure what will.
Yeah, I think we're going to stretch your mind a little today. You talk about infinite possibilities, infinite mind, infinite intelligence. And so I'm coming at it from a spiritual point of view.
Yeah.
And so what is this thing of neuroplasticity when it suggests that our brains that are adaptable, that they change, and they change according to our thoughts and our experiences? And so, how do we change the brain? How do we change our thinking, our belief systems? And I go right back to my spiritual principles, and based on the idea that we're one with infinite mind, infinite intelligence, that mind that creates everything. And when we align our mind, spiritual mind, not mortal mind, with the spiritual creator of all it is, then you start to manifest the things that you want to, create in your life. So we'll talk about, later on when we end the session and we go into our little
inner circle, our inner circle.
Yeah, we'll talk about some of these ways that you can do that.
Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to, that I love this example, and I use it often with clients, and because it's a story that I think I've told here once before, but the idea of neuroplasticity in your human brain is the idea that the neuron paths that you use are flexible, and that your brain uses those pathways for different purposes. Now, the thing that's exciting for me about us from a spiritual standpoint is whenever you look into science and you go, oh my God, this is amazing. We're beginning to scratch the surface and look deeper at this. It just shows the infinite intelligence of the infinite mind. So as we go into the science, it does not negate spirituality. I think it's really just, it really amps up as we're able to look into our own physical experience, the magnificence of it. It really just opens up the idea of how magnificent our spiritual expression and through mind is. But getting back to the neural pathway, there is a neural pathway that if you have, let's say, a low-level anxiety, something in terms of maybe stage fright, that same pathway is used for excitement. So a bunch of years ago, it was 2 a.m. I couldn't sleep. I had a talk to give in the morning, and I was really working through some stuff, and I felt a bit agitated, not fearful, not fight or flight, not, the saber-toothed tiger is here, but just a little bit agitated. And I had just learned a bit about neuroplasticity and this idea of the brain using the same neural pathway for both low-level fear and excitement. And as I stood there, I remember this as clear as day. I was standing there in the kitchen, and I considered this, and all of a sudden, the instant I considered that this low-level anxiety was actually a sense of excitement, it flipped for me, and I became excited about this talk that I was giving in the morning. And it was instantaneous. It was what we would call a healing. And I was aware of it from the human standpoint of the neural pathway, but it was a healing. All of a sudden I was able to embrace the idea of going from low level anxiety into excitement. And it fueled me, it relaxed me. And I was always grateful for that. So that's one of the reasons I like this kind of stuff, this kind of science, this science small s, because it does contribute so much to the science big S.
Dean, if it is true that, our thoughts and our beliefs kind of shape our neural pathways, that the things that we think about, we actually bring about. And so, for me, it seems, oops, did you disappear? Oh, I lost Dean. Okay, so then I'll talk on a little bit about this whole idea of the things that you think about, you bring about. And so I believe that if you start to change hey, there we go. Thanks, Dean.
All right.
When you change the way you're thinking, you're changing those narrow pathways in your mind, and therefore you're creating the reality around you, because if thoughts become things, then if thoughts become things, correct, then every thought that you have, according to your belief, is a key factor here. I mean, The key word here is the beliefs. It's measured according to your beliefs. It was the master, Jesus, who said it's measured according to your beliefs. If you believe that there's limited resources that you can draw upon, then you're going to create limited resources because you are the co-creator of your life. You're co-creating with this infinite power and presence. It's not withholding anything from you. And so how do you change your beliefs from lack and limitation to one of abundance and prosperity? Act as if you're prosperous and go out and start spending money and allow that to come into your life. That's changing the neural pathways of your mind. Because if you're sitting there going, I can't afford this, then you're setting up those neural pathways to be able to keep you from having it. But if you move forward and just act as if, trick your mind into believing something. That's why, Reverend Michael always taught me, act as if you have so you may receive. Just act as if you already have it. If you're sitting in, fear, doubt, and worry about your career, let's say, my creatives in the entertainment business, if you're sitting there worried about there's too much competition and you start acting like there's a lot of competition, you're going to get more of it. That's rewiring the brain. So let's try to, rethink things here. And I do that through my faith in this power and this presence. It's my faith in God, my faith in the divine presence. It's not withholding anything from me. And when I do believe that, I act as if that's true. And then that changes the neural pathways. It's when I get in the fear, doubt, and worry that I've got to stop myself and say, do I really want to go there? Do you really want to think about this? Let's fake it till we make it. Let's act as if. Huh?
Yes.
That's my spiritual input.
I'm absolutely for the fake it till you make it. At certain points, sometimes it's like, okay, let's just drive through this like a truck and fake it till you make it. But one of the things, you were saying the whole thing of tricking your mind. And that's why we're coming at this from more of a material aspect today with neuroplasticity and the actual brain. In the context of spirituality, is to just come at it from a bunch of different angles and say, just, free your mind, trick your mind. That's where the whole thing. So God, I love you, Rich. Last night, we're preparing for this, and one of us was in a horrifically horrible mood. One of us could barely see straight because one of us was really was seeing all of the evidence, false evidence appearing real, all of it.
Yeah.
So the other of us, that would be Rich, said, Dean, essentially to be open to the idea of how is the infinite power right now resolving this issue? How, and in my vernacular, how is this happening for you? And, when Rich said that to me, I was like, yes, of course, we all know this. Okay. It's not like this is news to me, but that's where spiritual coaches, practitioners, priests, ministers, rabbis, that's where people such as ourselves come in to be able to support our fellow travelers with the information, because we all get wrapped up into that app cray every once in a while. And it really is a matter of freeing your mind and training your thought. And as you train in order to get into that place where I was completely seeing fear, I also had to train my thought into the fear. I had to start believing some things that I was fearful about that I had to believe were true. And just like it's as sure as shooting, you go down that path, like
it becomes true.
There you go.
Yeah.
The pot of app cray at the end of the road is right there. And it's when you also can walk it back to go, okay, this is actually excitement here. This is not fear. This is infinite power experiencing itself in, through, and as me, and I can feel it vibrating.
Yeah.
And just in that instant, Rich, where you said, but Dean, and you prefaced it with some really compassionate and caring ideas. Boom. It was just the spiritual gift to be able to help me. Just, it's like when you're out, you're at the gym and you've got the weight, you're gonna do this, but your spotter just takes a couple of fingers and just a little helps you. Oh, and makes a big difference.
Yeah. That's what we do as practitioners. And the other thing I was saying to you too last night was, let's take a look at the great things that are happening as a result of this. Look at the good things you're creating in your life for you and your family, your new move, your new house, you're fixing up the new deck out in the patio, building, it's like you look at the new things, and then the minute, and I do this with my clients, the minute they start changing the rewiring of their brain, they stop thinking about, why did I do that? That was horrible, and it's like, no, just let's ignore that. It's an illusion. Okay. It's not real. What's real is you are growing, and it's like, that's what it's all about. Here's the other thing I wanted to bring up too. What is this thing? Okay. Now this is very mystical. What is the mystic here? What is this thing, okay, that when you think a thought, you create the reality of it? That not only you're rewiring your brain, but your brain or your mind and infinite mind are just one mind. Okay, so when you think a thought, infinite intelligence picks up on that thought and creates out of it without any limitations.
Right.
So the other day we're talking to a friend, we're in the park, and he was saying how he hates his job. He wants to get another job. He doesn't know what to do. And he wanted me to kind of like do a prayer treatment for him to find another job, right? Well, what happened was we did the prayer treatment. Your life is unfolding in perfect order. Infinite intelligence is taking care of everything. You just have to have faith and move forward and act as if, you're looking for a new job. Start looking for a new job. All of a sudden, he went to work. The next day, he got fired from his job. Now he's got unemployment. And now he has the time to go look for another job. So what is it? I mean, this is the magic that we're talking about here that I experience every day in my life. So to them, my friend and his girlfriend, they were probably thinking, this is a coincidence. Although they did say, hey, that was kind of weird, wasn't it? That happened the next day. He went in unexpected, the whole thing, but got laid off or fired or just let go. And it's like, there's magic here when you start to rewire the brain. You're not only rewiring, my point is, you're not rewiring your own brain, you're rewiring the mind of infinite intelligence that has no limitations in what it can create. And you don't even have to know how this is going to happen. You just have to affirm. And in the affirmative prayer, I just affirmed that his life is unfolding in perfect order. He's working with an infinite intelligence. It's got his back, not withholding anything. That's all you got to do.
That's all you got to do. Well, and you say it in a way that is so simple. And it's like, I want to go back to that whole weightlifting thing. That's all you got to do. Give me those two fingers just to help me over. It's all you got to do, but it's huge. It makes it go through fully. You get the full extension when you're focused on this kind of ability, these thoughts becoming things.
Yeah. Neuroplasticity.
Neuroplasticity.
Go look it up, guys, and study it.
Scientific
way to
I came up with a prayer that I want to share. I'm going to put it in the chat. Oh, it's too long. I'll send it shorter. I'll put a prayer in the chat for when we go into the inner circle on this idea of recognizing and harnessing the power of the mind and connecting that divine presence. So I've got a prayer here that I want to share with everybody. Shall we go into the inner circle, or is there anything we need to say?
Absolutely. Well, let's tell them how they can get into the inner circle.
Well, it requires many thousands of dollars of commitment. We take check, but money order. Oh no, actually, that's not.
That's all you have to do is go to newthoughttuesdays.com, sign up, and we'll send you the link so you can join us afterwards and have a conversation. This week, we're going to talk about what does Ernest Holmes, A Science of Mind, say about neuroplasticity and how you can change your thinking, you know, affirmations and using positive affirmations and visualizations. We're going to talk about that. Gratitude and appreciation, you know, mindfulness, be self-aware of what's going on in your life. So we'll get together and we're going to talk about these things. How do you do that?
So
How
if
do
you
have
sign up at newthoughttuesdays.com, sign up, we'll send you reminders, we'll send you the link, you can get into the conversation. We're about to go into the conversation. God bless this conversation. And we will see you next Tuesday. It will be a new Tuesday filled with new thoughts.
There you go. Change your thinking, change your life, change the world. So we'll see you next Tuesday, and we'll see you in the
Inner circle.
circle.